Job hopping, is it irresponsible career behavior?
Or a necessity in today's career landscape.
Hi, my name is Kai Wen.
And I'm Sue-Ann.
And you're listening to Head Start on Record. Join us as we figure adulting out so you don't have to do it alone. We have with us Annabel Lim. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. Annabel is currently a director at the communications firm We Communications. And I think a fun fact about her is that to get there, she actually cycled through 7 full-time jobs.
What?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Her LinkedIn page is like a Wikipedia page. I was like, wow, when can I stop scrolling?
Wow.
So we'll actually get into the hows and the whys, and maybe you can share with us more. Would you consider yourself a job hopper, Annabel?
I think for me, I would say that I don't think I'm a job hopper. I think it's been a very intentional way to build my career, and you have a goal in mind. What do I want to be in the future, and how do I get there is through each role. Every time I go to a new role, I make sure that it expands my portfolio and it gives me an added experience that lead me a step closer to who I want to be, say, in 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah. So I would say that when I first saw your LinkedIn page, and then I saw the number of roles that you cycled through, I also noticed that every role saw some kind of like mini upgrade, or should I say, that it followed a certain direction.
Yes.
And that was what I noticed immediately.
Yes,
yeah.
it did.
So as much as job hopping has I would say, maybe you can discuss this later, whether it has a negative connotation. But I guess in your case, I feel like it works in your favor. And it's something that people can take a leaf out from and study. Yeah. How about you, Sue-Ann? Do you think you are a job hopper?
Wow, I think I am the opposite of a job hopper. So I have been, I guess, SPH for like 9 years, which is my whole career.
Long service award.
Thank you.
Relax for you.
But yeah, so I have only worked for one company. But I guess I'm not always in the same role, right? Because I started out like as a generalist in Straits Times, and then I moved to TNP, where I did like a whole bunch of things, including entertainment. And then after that, I came back to do business there. So I guess it's the same company for 9 years, but not exactly the same role for 9 years, not the same job scope either for 9 years. So yeah.
So like, I mean, different in a way, but also same in a way where you are trying different things, but in the same company right?
Yes,
and the same
yes.
industry.
Yeah. So I guess for Annabel, is like, were you always in the same sector?
I think for me, it's always been in the kind of the same industry, marketing and communications and PR. I started my career in a PR firm, and that was like 14 years ago, where print paper was still a thing.
It is still a thing though.
But back then, it was still just print. But I think now it has expanded, right? There's print, there's online, there's even podcasts, vidcasts now. Times have changed in the last 14 years, and so has the role as a comms consultant. I realized that clients were also asking for different things. They needed more counsel on how can I integrate, say, if I buy a paid advertorial on Straits Times, how can I match it with a story that we are pitching? And how can I match it with something that I'm doing on the website, things like this. So like in 15 years down the road, if let's say I want to be a department head, what is the kind of the kind of responsibilities a department head would have? So what I did was I actually look at, back then was those job website, right? You look at all the
Job Street.
Job Street, Jobs DB.
Wait, this was your first job, right?
This was my first job right after university.
Right after university, okay.
Yeah, but I had 2 other like contract roles before that.
Right. And you were there for how long again, your first run?
3.5.
Okay, that's pretty long.
Okay,
That's pretty long.
For a first job. I
For a
think
first job,
that's-
including my
Yeah.
internship actually. So I got converted. So what I did was actually look at the job street, right? And I see, okay, let's say for example, in this kind of MNC company, in order for you to become like the comms head of department, it's usually comms. You need to have some marketing, industry and stuff like this.
Yep.
So at that point in time, and this is 14 years ago, where it's all very in silo. Marketing agency does solely marketing, and a PR agency just do PR. And if I want to go there, I look at it and I saw that, there were some skill gaps that I had, which my current organization then was not able to provide the kind of exposure that I wanted.
I see. But you knew that you wanted to be in the industry, right? And then that was your industry.
That was the one that I enjoyed.
I see.
So I think that's when the opportunity came to go into the media industry to do a different side of the job, which is a bit more events, a bit more stakeholder management, a little bit more on the editorial side with this media organization. I took it up, and I felt that it would give me a very good understanding of how, like in the newsroom, how you all think. I understood, and how I knew that editorial and sales are 2 different things. You cannot, just because I spend a lot of money on ads, it doesn't mean that I can influence, say, Straits Times give me a front page. Yeah, right?
Cannot.
Yeah. So it's just something that because I was in it, I was able to give that kind of counsel to my clients and gain that kind of network. And I think it helps a lot because in an agency, you work a lot external, right, with your clients. But when you are in an in-house role, stakeholder management is actually a skill that is very underrated. How do you work with your peers across departments? I think that's very important. And those are skills that I gained in my experience.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to put it out there and say that I personally feel that job hopping, as much as it's given a negative connotation, I don't think it's a bad thing. I really, really don't think it's a bad thing. I'm not saying leave your job irresponsibly. You know, I'm not saying just if you do something and then you say, I don't feel like doing it anymore, you just don't do it.
Yep.
So I think Annabelle's way and your approach was quite interesting to me because you had a clear direction. And even though on the outside, if I don't know you, I don't know your story, say, wow, this person like jump here, jump there. But actually, when I talk to you, I realize, oh, okay, you have a clear direction, right? And that's me lah. So for me, my own personal experience is that I was a primary school teacher. I'm an industry hopper.
Yeah,
Shoot
this
me
is
if you want. It's
completely
worse,
different.
right? So I hop industry. But I think, maybe just to share a little bit, I felt that in teaching, there were some skills that I feel I enjoyed doing. There were others that I didn't. And then I felt that I wanted to explore those skills. So I thought, okay, presenting was one of the skills. Learning about the world was one of the skills. Teaching people stuff was one of the skills. But I don't want to be in the teaching industry. So I branched out and I thought, okay, where are the other jobs that will give me that opportunity? And I thought, okay, Straits Times, I try. And then, lo and behold, I got it. And then, I felt that my soft skills were also useful in my new role. And I think I also enjoyed here. So I wanted to ask you guys, is there a minimum time? Okay, is there a minimum time one should stay at this company before they move on? Just in case, the employer say, hey, are you not serious in your job or what?
Yeah. And I guess for you yourself also, what has been like your shortest period before you move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think to answer the question, my shortest period was 6 months.
Wow.
6 months.
Okay.
6 months.
Yeah.
And this was a role that when I went in on the third day, I knew that it's not for me. It's not for me.
Tell me more.
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
So this role, so when you talk about, I think, job hopping, I think the key thing here is the intention and whether I think the key thing is here, the difference is, it's not about how long you stay, but it's also why you are staying on. Someone who's in a job in the same organization, like yourself, been there 9 years, but you have had different portfolios and expanded responsibilities. You are constantly growing. So that is not like you are stagnant and you're not
Right,
jaded.
yeah.
I think that's the important thing. If you're in your job, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like, you reach a ceiling, you're stagnated, that kind of thing? That, and if you're still staying on beside being a very jaded, grumpy old man, old woman in a job, that's not what you want to be, right?
Yeah.
And if you switch careers, switch roles, is it because of the expanded portfolio? So I think employers are entitled to look at the number of years and question it. I have gotten questions before, but I think as people who are going for interviews, you need to stand by your...
Yes, your answer, right?
Yeah.
So how do you reply?
So I always tell them the same thing I just said earlier. Like, I look at the roles and why I'm applying to your role, because your role gives me this opportunities that I don't have, and it helps me to reach that role that I want to be. And then I come with this set of responsibilities that fits your role. So this is how we can help each other and contribute.
But if you're hiring somebody, if you see like, 3 months, 6 months, would it be like ding, 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 red flag, red flag?
So it will. So I have had interviewed people before, and then I will say, hey, how come you didn't stay very long? And then I'll ask them.
Okay.
And then sometimes it's just the way they present the history on their resume, right? Actually, sometimes you realize that it's a contract work. So for example, I've met this person who does contract work in the arts industry. So in that industry, you realize, they don't really hire you on a long-term, full-time basis. After a theatre production, you move on to the next theatre production. So on paper, looks like, you keep jumping, but in reality, you're not. It's always important to, I think as managers, as hiring managers, don't just take it at face value. It's always have that conversation and ask like, why do you switch and why do you stay so short? So when in that 6 months role, it's a very funny story because I took on that role because I rage quit. So I have done it before.
Wait, you rage quit from your previous job lah?
Yeah, another job. And I rage quit
What
and
happened?
then...
Tell us about this.
It was, when you are very young and then you never really think properly. And I think it's very normal. I feel like in a career, it's not a very linear thing, right? So you have gone through the kind of emotions where you feel like you're not being valued.
I see. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Valid,
your bosses are not the kind of bosses that you want them to be. You are too small a fry to like
And
Do anything.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you think change law. That time got no housing, no mortgage lah.
Best
So
time lah.
best time to
Best
just
time.
True,
now
yeah.
cannot. Now I got
Just
mortgage.
jump.
I got school
Don't have to
fees
think
pay.
about it, right?
Yeah. So that was it. And then when that role just came, I just took it. I took it, even
Okay.
though I didn't negotiate a very good pay. That's another story. But it's like you don't just take the number that just presented to you. HR have their own prerogative, right? So what they present to you is what's beneficial to
This is
them.
salary negotiation.
Yes. So I just took it, and then I was like, okay, just take lah. Anyway, it's a contract role anyways. And thank goodness it's contract role also. So when I went in on the third day, I was like, yeah, nah. So it was a role that I realized that, and I think that experience taught me that you can't be emotional in dealing with such decisions. You need to be very clear and intentional when you make such decisions, and you got to stand by it. So on the third day, I did consider leaving
Wow, third day only.
Oh, okay.
because it wasn't the right fit. It
Yeah,
wasn't the right
yeah.
fit. I knew
You
that.
knew lah.
I knew it wasn't the right fit, but it was also that fear, right? Hey, what would people think of me? That kind. So I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I'll just stay on and finish off this one project, and then we see how it goes. So it's also giving yourself time. I need to give the company a chance. The company need to give me a chance as well. So that 6 months was my chance to try out to see maybe it's just, first time maybe it's just started on the wrong foot.
So just to prod a bit, what exactly about it was, or like what exactly do you feel like it was a wrong fit? Like was it the work or was it the people, the culture?
Oh, the people was great, and
Okay.
people were great. Culture was great. I
Yeah.
think it's just the work.
Okay.
Back then, I was still very young, in my early 20s. So I think I was very used to a very fast-paced environment. So when it
I
came to an
see.
environment that's a bit slower pace, where the work, like instead of things I used to do within 1 week, right, it can take like 3 months to do that kind. So like it's a bit not used to it, like
Dinosaur company.
Yeah.
So on hindsight, the company gave me a lot of personal time. So during that time, I went to learn driving lah, do volunteer work lah, and work on time. I was able to recalibrate myself. And that's when I realized, okay, I recalibrated. I'm not so burnt out. I'm a
Yeah.
bit more clear-headed now. I'm ready for my next challenge.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think the fact that you are trying out something new, I think that's something that more people should do, I feel. Be it whether it's role in your company or be it whether it's changing a different job, rich quit, try a different industry altogether. Because I feel like nobody would just be, you won't learn more about yourself by staying in some place and doing the same thing over and over again. So it's like, before you marry, you like date multiple
Yeah.
people. Before you subscribe to Netflix, you must have the trial period first.
It's true. Actually,
So-
jobs should have a trial period, right?
Yeah,
That
I
will help
feel
it a lot
like-
more. If like in 3 days, you
Exactly.
want to leave, okay.
Exactly, and the fact that you change and then you notice that this is not for me, so you learn something about yourself, which I feel like more people should do lah.
I agree.
Yeah. So Sue-Ann, for you,
Yes.
you have stayed at the same company. Maybe
Yes.
your role has switched a little bit.
Yeah.
I think one question is, do you feel that you're losing out to your peers? To your friends from uni or whatever? Because I'm sure some of them have switched multiple times.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. Okay, so firstly, I would say that partially it wasn't by choice because I took on the undergrad scholarship.
Yeah.
When I finished the undergrad scholarship bond, it was COVID. So it's not like I could leave at that point. And then after that, I took on a postgrad scholarship, which has only just
Scholarship gal.
ended.
So I'm good, ah.
So you can just lure me with money and I will say yes. I think that's what we've learned.
Yes.
Yeah, but I do
Aiyo.
think, okay, so in terms of like whether I miss out,
Yeah.
okay, sometimes people do say when you jump jobs, that's when you like get a pay bump, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of whether or not I'm missing out on skill sets, I don't think so because maybe SPH is a big enough company that you can try out different roles, you can do different things, like from just written journalism, now I'm doing podcasting, right? So that's already one thing. And it also depends on maybe whether you have a desire to actually pivot in a very drastic way. So like for example, for you went from teaching to journalism. So that is
Yeah.
like a hard pivot, right?
Hard pivot.
Whereas
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if like I feel quite fulfilled writing, I
Yeah.
like reporting, I like journalism. So the question is, if I go to another company, will they still be like the same skills that I'm also employing? Is it just a change in environment but not a change in the skill set? or can I also find like changes in skill set while I'm in the same place, right? So that's also like a question. Before I went overseas to study, I was doing manpower. So I was doing like career stuff, employment stats, talking to people who were laid off during COVID. And then I came back and suddenly my boss is like, that role is gone now because somebody else is doing that. So now you will be doing like the stock market. And I'm like, I know nothing about stock market. I don't trade. I don't play shares. I don't do any of those things.
Damn.
But in the last 2 years, then I've kind of learned something new, right? I learned how to read company reports. I learned how to read like the
take it in your
profit
stride
statements.
lah, right? Yeah.
And it's something that
That's
I
cool.
definitely, that's not a skill I had before. So maybe it's still like the same skill in the sense of like writing. But then you learn like to read financial reports, which is, something that I can say is quite amazing.
Annabel, would you have ever imagined yourself to stay in one company?
I did. My mom stayed in her role for 35 years.
Wow.
So I was like, always thought, what does it feel like to do the same? But I realized that I guess I didn't. I mean, I cycled through 7-8 roles, but over a 14 years journey.
Wow.
Company
But that's quite a thing, right?
loyalty.
With like parents, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would
yeah,
think
like
so.
the older
I
generation.
think so.
Yeah. Because my mom
Yeah.
also, I mean, I don't think she's ever changed her job. Yeah.
I think mine also. Ever since she was 18, she's like 50
Wow.
something now.
Wow.
Yeah. Company loyalty, let's talk about it. Do you all think that is worth anything or not nowadays? Because I think our generation our thinking is definitely different from our parents' generation.
Yeah.
To them, actually, I think company loyalty matters quite a bit. I feel.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why they stay, right? It's not just, okay, for example, in the ministry, Iron Rice Bowl and all that, but it's also the fact that, I've just worked with these people for like 30 years.
Annabelle, how do you think?
I think my question is, what are you loyal to? Are you loyal to the company brand name or are you loyal to your manager? So I think that's the thing that I think would differentiate, because I would say that I'm loyal to my mentors or my managers. Anytime if they open their own company, right, I'll be like, please hire me, I will go work for you, that kind of thing.
I
But
see.
the thing is, I think the question here is, when you are staying on in your role, why are you staying on in that role? Is it because you're satisfied? I think there's nothing wrong in being satisfied in what you're doing. But I think the risk is, I don't think anyone should stay on in a role and be loyal and be jaded about it. I think that's very unhealthy. It's very unhealthy for you. But if you can be loyal to a manager, and that means that even when you exit that role, you go into a new role, you continue to be loyal to this person by going to this person for mentoring opportunities, or you mentor someone, maybe your junior, your execs. So I think loyalty is something of discussion. Is what are you really loyal to?
Yeah. Okay, but I like that you mentioned loyalty to who, because loyalty to manager is something that I have not thought about actually.
Yeah, rather than just to the company
Yeah,
name,
loyalty
right?
to manager is
Yeah.
interesting.
Because companies will fold. I mean, in the last few years, how many agencies have folded or combined merger and acquisition? How many tech companies have been, merged?
Yeah.
And so what are you loyal to, for example?
Interesting, yeah. For me, I think I should be loyal to myself and loyal to my growth lah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is actually my thinking. And I think I just want to share a side anecdote that I came to this realization when I was in uni, when my dad, so my mom is in the same company, so is my dad. But my dad was eventually let go because of some restructuring. He was working for a golf club. So he was so distraught. And I remember this very carefully because he came back home and I was still studying in uni, right? And then he asked me, hey, you have any spots in uni? Papa really need a job. Because I was in uni, my brothers are still studying. And so he needed money Yeah, and I saw the entire month where he was just so unhappy. Don't know where to get help. Still have to pay bills. My school fees are still waiting for him to pay. Yeah, so eventually he did get something, but he had to pivot. He had to pivot, and it was tough because he was 55 at that point of time.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so 55-year-old have to pivot to something entirely new. Yeah, so he had to relearn and rejig his internal processes. Yeah, so I learned that, actually being loyal to a company, it's okay, being loyal to what, right? Being loyal to the company is fine as long as at the same time I'm also serving my own needs and my own dreams and my own goals. And if they align, good lah.
Yeah.
So be it. Yeah, good for all of us. But if you feel like your growth has stagnated, then I think it's time to move to a different role or to a different company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't believe in being loyal to a company because, like you said, right? I mean, you can be loyal to a company, but they are never going to be loyal to you because,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line. It's about your profit margins.
Yeah.
If the company has to let you go, they will just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, profit margin, right?
Yeah.
It's the reality lah. We are in Singapore.
Yeah. And when I was a younger journalist, like people would tell me, like, if anything happens to you, they'll replace you before your body even gets cold. Which I
They
feel,
say that.
yeah, which is the same for
That's
every
such great
company,
advice.
right? Because sometimes you think like, wow,
Your
I'm
body
so
even-
indispensable. I'm doing such important work, but the moment anything happens to you, you can just be replaced. There's so many other people that they can hire.
Yeah.
So I really think that, I think loyalty to yourself is such an important thing. Like you think about what you want, whether you're satisfied or not, and whether the company is gonna help contribute to your growth, right?
Yeah. But that's it. Of course, we all work responsibly lah, right? We still give our best. It's just that, sometimes there are some companies that say, hey guys, we are family.
Yes, I think that's a red
What do you
flag,
feel about
honestly.
Sue-Ann, we are family together.
Family, brothers and sisters.
brothers and sisters.
I just think, loyalty can be weaponized. Like, it can be something that
true.
becomes toxic, right? Because they say, okay, we are family, so don't take your annual leave, maybe.
Yeah.
Or when you are on leave, answer all my queries or reply emails. Because we are family, we need to support each other. But it's like, no, that's not how it really works.
Yeah.
Like, a job is still a job at the end of the day.
Wow, your philosophy?
Wow.
Job is
That
a job.
is my philosophy.
Work still work.
Work is work.
I heard before one quote was saying, "I'm here for the income, not for the outcome."
Wow.
It's a sticker that I saw.
That's a great quote though.
I'm here for the income, not for the outcome.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I also feel that job hopping is actually a privilege, or changing jobs is actually a privilege. lah. Because at the end of the day, I know we talk about goals, aligning goals, wanting to chase our dreams. Still making ends, putting food on the table, income is the most important. And I think that if you have the opportunity to explore options, why not? Right? It might seem very scary. I know it does. Yeah, because I've done it. And I was so scared leaving teaching because I know nothing about journalism.
It is scary. I
Right.
won't deny that. And you are right. I think being able to change a role, it's really a privilege. So I think it's not that glamorous. There's a lot of underlying pressure and stresses that we don't say it very often enough.
Yeah.
But in order to do your job well, it's not just doing, but also making sure that there is harmony in the workplace as well.
Yeah, it's quite a social thing as well, right? Like fitting in with a new group of people, even learning what their work preferences are, things like that, or the way they communicate.
Correct.
Yeah, the way they communicate though, because everybody communicates differently.
Yes.
Yeah, and every workplace has a different communication culture,
Yes.
right? In a sense, yeah.
Wow, was it tiring though? Because you do it multiple times some more.
It is tiring, but I always
Yeah.
find it's a good experience to
I see.
learn how to manage people. And I think every time you also bring that kind of like understanding, like everybody is, this is just a job, this is just work, right? It's a career for you.
Yeah.
Don't need to bring emotions into it. You got to be very clear about certain things. You got to compartmentalize certain things. It's just a career. And maybe it means learning how to work better together. So for stakeholders who are not in, say, marketing perspective, right? Maybe you need to help them to help you. So is it giving them clearer timelines, clearer instructions, things you learn along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I know that both of you always say work is just work, job is just job. But personally, I don't know if it's idealistic, but also I think it's getting to me a bit nowadays, where I feel like my work is also part of my life and it's also part of my purpose. So yeah, I always feel like my work has to be purposeful in some way lah, and it has to be something. And I give energy and emotions
Yes.
to my work, and especially let's say maybe feedback or the lack of feedback. Sometimes it gets to me personally, emotionally as well lah. And I have to admit, it is a bit tiring. So I don't know what is do you have advice for people like me?
I think I would say that I agree. I also spend a lot of time on at work. But I think the difference here is I enjoy my work. I enjoy the people. But the work itself, that content that you are doing, that is just a piece of work. It is just writing, right? And I think sometimes we are not robots. So we all have emotions too. I think it's very fair.
you
I think
do.
it's fair to have emotion. In fact, I feel like when you have emotions, it shows that you hold yourself to high standards. You hold yourself to a certain standard, and I actually respect people who do that. So I would rather an exec or a manager who gets angry when I miss a one-on-one with them, or like I don't give enough good feedback, than a exec who just do what I ask him to do, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to have emotions, but I think it's also how do you let yourself, I guess, decompress?
Right.
And then how do you get better from there? It's okay to have emotions, but do not let that be the reason why you say stay or you leave. I think that's a very important thing.
Like rage quit.
Yeah, don't do it. I did it before and it's not recommended. Not worth it.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with Annabelle, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like there's no way, okay, in an ideal world, you can compartmentalize. You
Yeah.
can say, okay, 6 p.m., I'm going home, goodbye. I will
Yeah,
never think
yeah.
about work again until
Yeah.
the next day. But obviously that doesn't
Cannot.
happen, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have a bad day at work, you carry it home with
Yeah,
you.
you do.
Like
Yeah.
that's just inevitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
To your
but-
family members sometimes. Even,
Yeah,
then it's
right.
a bad,
And then in the end, it becomes even worse. Like, it just
Yeah.
pause out. Yeah. Or sometimes you wake up at night, you think, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Suddenly think about
Nightmare,
something at
nightmare
work.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I used to have that actually. Like, I will wake up in the middle of the night and go, wait, did I write this in a story? I think it's
my
an error.
God.
Oh, it's too late now. Yeah. But the thing is, I think it's something that has to be processed, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
with all
yeah,
things, like you need to
yeah.
mentally process what
Yeah.
you're going through and why there is maybe that lack of boundary or why the boundary is starting to blur.
Mm.
And maybe is there something at work that is maybe a problem now? Or is it like less fulfilling in a certain way than it was before?
Yeah, so I did a bit of digging and I went to find out about what are the reasons that people are compelled to leave their jobs. First one is money.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
money is most important income, right? And there are professional development opportunities, like the career that you want to build.
Yeah.
Alignment with company values actually and industry values.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
also finally the one my favorite is work-life balance.
Okay,
Including
yeah.
work from home. My personal favorite.
Very valid,
Yeah.
yes.
Any factors that you all feel strongly about or pique your interest?
I guess it's the growth portion. I think the growth part would be something that I resonate more. Money, of course, is important, but I think that as you progress up, sometimes it's also looking beyond the current 4 figures that you're getting. I think you need to look at the expansion of responsibilities that you are getting. So maybe at current state, you might be just a manager, but you are and you're just a one-man show, for example. Your pay is a bit slower, but your portfolio manager say Southeast Asia markets. So everybody reports to you. And that actually is kind of scope that helps to build you up for a leadership position. So maybe for now, you're not earning big bucks. But as you gain enough responsibilities experience, your next role, it could be a huge pay bump. And that's something that you don't get if you didn't take on this so-called smaller role. So I think there's a lot of things that is not so linear,
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
Like there's not just one factor.
Actually, I think, we always talk about all the big picture stuff, right? Alignment
Yeah.
with values and all
Yeah.
that. But I do think many people leave just because day to day they are unhappy. And that's always to do, it is to do with your team members, your bosses. Whether
yeah.
or not they say something that makes you angry, whether they are micromanaging,
Yeah.
right? Like those are the things that we often hear about. Like those are
Yeah.
just the day to day grievances. Because if at the beginning of every day you find it so hard to go to work, then it just becomes an impossible
Yeah.
situation. So actually, I think
Yeah.
mental health is quite an
Yeah,
important
yeah.
part of work as well, right? Like if you find that work is affecting your mental health, like if it's causing like active anxiety,
Yep.
if
Yeah.
it's really like bringing you so low, then that's just a situation that's not tenable. Even before we talk about pay and before we talk about professional development.
So I also feel like for this generation, the Gen Zs, they do have they do lean a bit more towards like mental health. They are more observant about stuff that matters outside of like basic pay, basic job aspirations. They care about diversity, they care about mental health. What do you all think about factors like this? Are they important as well?
I mean, I think mental health day to day is
Right.
definitely so important, right? And like I do think it's a good thing that Gen Zs in their whatever way it is,
Yeah.
that they are not willing to just lie down and accept maybe the things that we maybe older millennials would have, and they
Yeah.
would maybe push back or they would say, oh, you can't treat me like this, right?
Yeah.
But I also do think that they care more about bigger values, like you said, like whether an organization is diverse, whether it stands for the same
Yeah.
values that they have, maybe like in terms of sustainability, for example.
And what's your experience with them?
Actually, I work with quite a few of Gen Zs, and I realized that what's important to them is whether or not the organization understands their needs.
I see.
I think like any employer. So
Yeah.
in the same way, like how you might have, you might be a caregiver to your family, or you could be a parent or a parent instead. I think it's also giving that kind of understanding to them that they might need to take some time off. But I think it's also giving them the trust that they will come back to the work. I think for them,
trust.
for that generation, they need to learn how to communicate. They need to be a little bit more upfront with the fact that, okay, I'm going to need more time, or I'm going to take some time off, but I'll come back again.
Okay. I also want to ask you guys more about feeling the urge to leave a job, or what is the point, or what should you be feeling when you feel like, I think I cannot take this anymore. Like, Sue-Ann, I mean, I know you have not left your job.
Yes, I'm still
but
here.
in a hypothetical situation, what would push you off that edge?
Okay, so it's interesting they talk about rage quitting, right? Because to be really honest, I think if I did not have an undergrad bond, I would have left maybe less than 3 months in. Because the early days there were so many things that happened where I was like, you know what, I can't even do one more day of this. But then I just thought of my bond and I'm like, okay, let's just push through anyway and let's make it happen. But I think things like, for example, just too many night shifts, working too many weekends, too many round-the-clock jobs, and too much pressure, I think. So all that was quite difficult, and I do think my mental health was really poor the first few months of work. So maybe I would have quit if I did not have a bond at that point.
But the bond tied you through.
But also I think there's something to be said for like, okay, not that pushing through is always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But also like what Annabel said, you sometimes have to take a step back, take your emotions out of it and think, can I still continue? Should I still try this? Should I maybe ask to pivot slightly, but I'm still in the same job rather than giving up entirely? But then again, if, for example, it really affects your mental health, if this is not sustainable, then that is something that you should step away from, I think.
So how do you differentiate between, hey, this is a passing feeling, or, oh my God, this is a deeply rooted problem that, is more serious than it looks? Is there a way to...
Good question.
Because both feel anger, okay, both of them, you will feel anger, you will feel a little bit of different mismatch in job scope, right? So... do you know how to differentiate the feelings?
Oh, I think this is a $1 million question.
Yeah. Actually, it is.
I don't think there is a answer. There is no textbook answer to this. But I think for me, then it's also like, okay, what have I done to improve this situation that I'm in? So, for example, I once was in a role that was very event-centric. So a lot of weekend shows and late nights because bump-ins and rehearsals and whatnot. But when I became a parent, then such hours, such responsibilities are a bit harder to commit to. You are wondering, why am I always spending every Saturday or Sunday at an event space instead of seeing my family? So I think those would change, and it's something that your role cannot change because this is an events role, right? You cannot ask the client, hey, sorry, I don't do events on Saturday, cannot, right? So you change the role then. So you take the emotions out of it. And then I think in the job itself, it's also like, okay, if let's say I'm not feeling motivated anymore, does it help if I talk to somebody? Can I change my portfolio, for example? Or if it's someone that I just cannot gel with my manager, for example. Then I tried it for 6-8 months. We just cannot understand one another. Is there a possibility that at the next cycle, maybe I can change a department? That kind of thing. I think you need to be truthful to yourself, be responsible to yourself, that you have done what you could already. And if you really cannot, then I think it's okay. I think you only need to answer to yourself for your own career. HR can ask you $1 million question, a million and one question about why you changed job and everything. But at the end of the day, if you yourself cannot be steadfast and you cannot stand by your reasons, then nobody would believe you, just like salesman, right?
Okay, that's a good point, right?
Honestly, I think it was a fantastic insight. Because I feel like at the end of the day, it boils down to you and your ability to be able to reflect about why you feel that way. And yes, like you said, have I done anything to make myself feel better? Because if the answer is yes, then I think the answer is quite clear. Because if you have already done stuff to try to make yourself feel better, but at the same time it's not working out for you, then I guess that it is your cue to leave lah.
Yeah, because only you would know how much effort you've put in, right, to try to solve the situation for yourself. And then if that doesn't work, only you will know too. Because people can always they can gaslight you and they can tell you, they can say, you didn't try this, you didn't try that, but only you will have known.
Correct.
Gaslight,
And everyone has their own different benchmark. What worked for you may not work for me or work for Kai Wen, for example. And the way we deal with stresses is very different. And not saying that you handle stress better than I, that kind of stuff. Everybody's different. You have to be just responsible to your own self.
Very introspective.
Processing your feelings.
Yeah, you have to be. Okay, I have one last final question. Do you guys have any advice to youths who are maybe slightly unhappy with their jobs or thinking of doing a career change, how should they even go about? If let's say they are switching role that they are not confident in, or they're switching industry like me, and they're not confident in the next step, how can they better prepare? What's your advice to them?
I think maybe there are two parts to it. I think one part to it is if you are a student, an undergraduate, I strongly encourage you to go for internships. Internships are the best way to go and suss out what you like or rather what you don't like. I would say what you don't like. The best part of internship is at most it's 3 months only, right? You just tahan for 3 months and then this is not for me. And it's good. And it gives you the kind of experience and the foot in the door. For those who are just starting out in their careers, I think it's normal to feel fear when you want to change a role.
Yeah.
I think the question then goes back to okay, why are you changing? Is it because you are giving up? Because you are giving up? That you didn't try anything? You didn't try something different? Or you know that this is really not for you, it's affecting your mental health and you are okay to step away from this and do something new and then restart from bottom again. I think that's the key thing. You need to restart. Are you okay to restart? So I think these are things that you need to ask yourself. And before you're ready, you need to enter a new role with the right mindset also.
Yeah. And of course, restarting is never easy. You restart a new company, a new role, is new colleagues, new environment, like we mentioned just now, new social energy, new social dynamics. And I guess if you have decided to take that leap of faith, just take it and see where it goes. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? If you have prepared enough money to, for a rainy day, then you should be able to fail and then restart again. I think that's the mindset that I would like to have, even though it's a very scary mindset.
Yeah, it is. I think I agree with you too, that it's just like not the end of the world, right?
It is not.
And you have
not.
such a long career runway, you're still so young. So, you can just go try something else. And then if it doesn't work, you can
try.
Go back to your original industry or even your original job. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. Sometimes Singaporeans, we do grow up thinking that, okay, there must be one path. And so I guess that's why we are scared.
I think that is kind of a problem because we try to map everything out from like age 18.
Yeah.
When that doesn't make sense because your life changes, your interests change,
Yeah. And with that, that's all the time we have for this episode of Head Start on Record. Thank you, Annabel, for joining us on the episode. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Once again, my name is Kai Wen.
And I'm Sue-Ann.
And you can slide into our DMs on socials to suggest another topic you'd like to see us tackle on the show.
And if you'd like to read my articles or ST's Head Start newsletter, all these links are in our podcast show notes.
This podcast episode is edited by Amirul Karim. Thanks for listening and see you next month. Bye.